Hello and welcome back to the Hivemind After Hours podcast. Today we have Devin from Sunsleep with us, and all four of us of the Hivemind, which is the first time in a while that we managed to get all four of us together for an interview. So that's pretty awesome. Obviously, Devin, you just released a new album, Terrible Things, a few months back. We have some questions about that. We want to talk about your music and your career in the music industry as a whole, and just other nonsense that you've been up to. So, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just got to Savannah, Georgia on an off day right now. I'm currently out on the road with Twilight In Concert, which is random as hell, but been doing that for about a month and a half. It's like a symphony playing the songs from the movie. So it's been cool just to travel around and do that for a little bit.
It's interesting that you mentioned Savannah because my sister did a college tour at Savannah Arts College a few years ago when she was applying for college.
Oh, really? Okay.
My sister's been down there, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've never been here before, but we had an off day here. Last night we were in Miami, but our trailer for our other bus got like stuck, and so they had to like literally unhinge it and like pull it out of this like pothole thing. It was a whole situation. So we got in here at like 5 p.m. today. So,
geez, so how did this whole tour? It's been like what you're saying, a month and a half. How did this come about?
Yeah, it was kind of random. So I do like recording production stuff on the side and sort of like a side job. But I ended up just getting through like a friend of a friend that was looking for a vocalist for the tour. They just put my name down and hit me up about it, and I happened to be free, so I took it up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Before we get too into the discussion, I just want to give a moment to shout out socials. You can follow us at Hivemind Radio _ on Instagram and Twitter, Hivemind Radio on YouTube, Hivemind Recap Podcast on Spotify and other podcast platforms. Devin, do you have any socials you want to shout out to keep up to date with your music and Sunsleep and whatnot?
Yeah, you can just follow Sunsleep on Instagram. We have Sunsleep on YouTube and Twitter. I think it's Sunsleep Bands. And yeah.
Yep. All right. I assume we should probably start this interview talking about the new album that just came out. So I guess just a simple, easy question to start this interview here. What were some of your musical influences writing Terrible Things and instrumentally as well? Any bands that have influenced you? Any albums and whatnot?
Media in general.
Yeah, it was kind of all over the map. So I had demoed some stuff for this record kind of in the midst of releasing the last one. So Moonlight, Euphoria came out, and I had just gotten to work on writing some songs. I had been listening to a lot of a band called Floor. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. It's FLOR.
If anyone here has heard of them, it's probably Derek.
Yeah,
I'd have to look.
So I've been listening to a lot of Floor, the band Camino. Listen to them a lot. But I mean, my music taste just kind of goes all over the place. Like I love pop stuff. I love like hip hop, R&B. Like it's all over the board. I got really into Nick Jonas randomly. So I, I've been listening to some of his stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, influence could be drawn from literally anything.
I feel very validated hearing the Nick Jonas, because that and Nothing But Thieves were two like really like to me that was prevalent across a lot of the album, and I'm like, wait, am I crazy? Or?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, I love that band. Yeah, Nothing But Thieves is a big influence too for this record. I'd really gotten into them over the pandemic. I think it's that Moral Panic album. I love that, dude. It's so good.
I need to listen to that still. I've
You
only
really
heard
do.
Dead Club City.
So I guess more so on Terrible Things, it was written and produced wholly by you. So what does it mean to you, both personally and as an artist?
Yeah, so Terrible Things is kind of like an amalgamation of a lot of kind of relationship turmoil I was going through. I had been through some stuff with the previous guys in the band. So there's a lot of that on there. Just, when you're starting a business with 4 or 5 other people, you get into this passion, and it's very you know, you're doing it because you love it first, right? But then you get your heartstrings wrapped up in it. And then when it starts to become a business, a job, you know, you see this time and time again, but people's lives change over 6, 7, 8 years. And you kind of start to question, like, you know, people's intentions and why they're doing this. And so there's a lot of that on the record, just from like the turmoil in the band itself. So that ended up in a lot of the songs. And then I was also dealing with like some stuff in my own personal relationship with my girlfriend towards the end of that record cycle. So it's kind of like this amalgamation of two different aspects of like just bad relationships like falling apart that, you know, were the foundations of my life for the last several years. So
No, I hear
In
you on
short,
that.
terrible things happening.
yeah, in short, terrible things. Yeah.
It definitely felt how personal it was throughout the entire album. I think that was one of the biggest things that we as a group appreciated about it, is the fact that, you know, I won't name names to shame artists, but there's a lot of kind of corporate sounding music in the scene nowadays that feels very impersonal. And so to have something in a record that felt this personal lyrically was a breath of fresh air. I know we all enjoyed it a lot, so.
That means a lot, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I think that's always where I write from, is like I try to keep things personal and like develop stuff in my lyricism that feels flushed out. So I take my time with that aspect in my writing. It's definitely the instrumentation and like the songs come together fairly quickly, but like the lyricism and like the hooks and those kinds of things, I really like to spend my time on that.
That's awesome. I guess you touched on it a little bit in talking about, you know, what the album means to you, but now that Sunsleep is a solo project, right? How have things been different? You know, has it been easier, harder, better? Just anything like that. Because I can imagine going from a group of 4 or 5 guys to just you. I know you have your own solo music as well, but I imagine the change is quite drastic.
It is, yeah. I mean, so there's something to be said about having a good team, right? So like, I think it's an amazing experience to be in a band, or even with like what you guys do, you know, like have a podcast with your friends, start a business, right? There's this kind of camaraderie with like having more than one person to work with. But then like when all of those people, or even just like a small group of people, like stop getting along, right? And there's like turmoil, it starts to become like chaotic, and you're like, man, this would be so much easier if I wasn't dealing with A, B, and C, right? And so I think over the years, and like, I'm not here to like bash on anybody in the band or talk anything like that, but I think over the years, like I just had these realizations of like how much I was actually doing when it came to the business side of things, the music side of things, and like, to put simply, it's just like it's been easier to manage that as a solo artist than it is with 4 or 5 other people's lives, opinions, I don't know, just changes coming into the mix. And so that aspect of it has just been a lot easier to manage myself. But yeah, like the teamwork side of things, I definitely miss that for sure. It's good to have, you know, a team that you're facilitating, and that can still exist too, you know, even in this space as a solo artist, right? You have to work with labels, you need to work with videographers, tour productions, tour managers. So there's a lot of that aspect too that still exists as well. But I just find that I'm the kind of person that's very like driven to what I like to do and like what needs to happen. And it's sometimes that's hard, getting 4 or 5 other people on the same page. So
Yep.
How do you differentiate the sound between what goes under the Sunsleep moniker and what goes under your Devin Barrus, like, Spotify moniker?
Yeah, so I think my solo stuff has just been kind of like, I'm just gonna put out whatever. You know, I haven't really like tried to make a career out of any of that. It's just been like covers and kind of just for fun, right? At the end of the day. So that's the simplest way to put it, is like, I'm not like thinking about the next like solo record, right? It's kind of just music that like ends up being like, oh, I'm not going to put this out on the Sunsleep channels because it might mess up my algorithm, or, you know, I just want to kick out this cover because, you know, this is fun or whatever. So, yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
makes total
I was
sense.
gonna correlate it to like Sunsweep is like music as a job, whereas the Devin Barrus name is like music you would be making if you were just doing this as a hobby anyway.
Yeah,
way?
exactly. Yep.
Also,
That's
shout out your Decode cover by Paramore.
thank you. Thank you,
Listen to
sir.
that over the weekend. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we're getting to play that song because I'm doing the Twilight tour. So I was like, let's kick out a Decode cover, dude. I grew up listening to Paramore, so yeah.
I gotta know how the Twilight thing came to be.
Yeah, I know, it's so funny, dude. It's so funny. It's like an industry that I've like never really been tapped into, but they do this thing with like movies and stuff all the time where they'll have like a live orchestra or a band play like the music from it while the movie's playing behind you. So it's a little different, right? It's not like concert, but
So what are you
band-
doing in that then?
Sorry, what?
What are you doing in the Twilight thing then?
Oh, I'm singing. Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm the vocalist. Yeah. So I'm just up there doing like Muse and Radiohead and Paramore and stepping in for the vocal parts. Yeah.
That's cool.
I guess in talking about your solo music, I've always been curious about this. There was a collab that you did like 5 years ago now with an artist called Priest, and it was like a feature. It's PRIEZT.
Oh yeah.
And you guys dropped one banger, and he like disappeared off the face of the earth. And I've always been wondering, how did that come to be? Like, is this just somebody you knew, or did you reach out to?
Yeah, it was a good friend of mine. He was a guy in the local scene. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah. And we used to play with this like pop duo. They were called Obi Clever. So one of my bands, we would like open up for them, and he was just kind of somebody that I always clicked with, like in the local scene. And he wrote a lot of like really, really catchy like pop stuff. So we just got together one day and like made that song and just put it out, and that was it, dude. He got into like other stuff. I think he's in like the tech industry, so he just gave up on music altogether. So, but yeah, that was a fun track.
I found out semi recently because I always go in to see like if that song's popping off for whatever reason, because some months it feels like it is, and then he shoots back down to like 9 monthly listeners, and it's like so I checked the global plays, and I have the most plays on that song in the world, or at least of anybody that's registered to last.fm, so that's my claim to fame. I'm if you still have any contact
put
with
it
him,
on
let
your
him know.
tombstone.
I'm
You
still
got it.
I'm still spinning it.
Keeping it alive, brother. I love
Oh,
it.
absolutely. Going back to Terrible Things, I wanted to ask you, breaking through as an album opener, you know, is there a context to the second track, to the closer? Because I found a meaning in it after listening through, but obviously music is subjective, and I was wondering, you know, what was your intent behind including that as the opener?
Yeah, it's funny. So that opener piece of music, I kind of went into this process during the record where I was like, I want to make some tracks that are maybe like interludes or like transitions between things. And sometimes those really work, and sometimes they feel super forced, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so, you know, I was cutting together just like stems from some of my mixed exports and messing around with some of the like bass sounds and the guitar chops and stuff. And then I ended up just like being like, all right, this is kind of a bop. Let's put like a 4 on the floor thing on it, and then pitch shift the vocals. And it was honestly just like pure just experimentation. And I was like, all right, this has to like go on there somewhere. So it felt really good to like open the record up with just like an interesting kind of, I don't know, like piece of music that goes really well into that first song.
Oh, that's awesome. I love the way that it integrated with the album. I thought it was great. Maybe I put some meaning behind it, but again, I guess that segues into what we wanted to ask next, and it's just, you know, I know you talk about writing from a very personal place, right? And making sure that people can feel your lyrics. But what do you hope that people feel when they hear your music? You know, whether it be on Terrible Things or just when they listen to a Sunsleep track in general.
I mean, really, the big one is just feeling like they're being understood. You know, I think as an artist, we all write from a place where we're expressing ourselves or using it as some form of therapy, right? I found that very common between other people that, you know, do this, and we all have that thing in the human experience where it's like there are certain emotions that are so complex they're like hard to like communicate. And I think that's the cool thing about music is music's that like missing link in like language where it's like, oh, there's all of these complex emotions around this situation, and no matter how different we are, we kind of all experience these things as human beings. So that to me is just the really special thing behind lyricism and music in general.
Yeah, I've had this conversation with people a lot about like, I don't care if you agree or disagree with me. It's like, if you can just understand why I think the way that I do about a certain thing, like I care more about that just being understood than whether you agree or disagree. Just that being able to like understand someone's reasoning or their emotion or their feeling, it's like, it's very humbling sometimes to like, just, it feels good to be understood instead of just completely like, you're stupid, you know?
Yeah, no, it's true, man. And like, just to have that kind of like belligerent, like, oh, I think this way, or everything's black and white, right or wrong, yes or no, you know, that's just not reality. And being understood is so important in every aspect, and professional aspects, and music and friendships, relationships, you know, so it's huge.
Are there any artists like that for you that you feel a stronger connection to, like lyrically?
From Indian Lakes, dude. I don't know if you guys have ever.
Oh, that sounds really familiar.
They're cool. Yeah, I just really love Joey's like lyricism and the way he approaches songwriting, and yeah, he's genius in my opinion. Really, really good bands.
Oh, I listened to Dimly Lit a long time ago. I need to.
Yeah.
Sounds like I need to re-up. Let me.
Derek, what's the vibe check on that album for the rest of us?
Oh, dude, it's been 6 years. I could not tell you.
That's an old one, dude. It's so weird. Yeah, I'm like 32 now, and it's weird that an album from like 6 years ago, I'm like, this still feels new. Still feels relevant.
Oh man, I love when like an artist is like so like you can feel the emotion in their music, and I think like all this like AI stuff. I don't know if we want to get into that or not, but AI will never be able to mimic the emotion that you can feel in music, and I get that from a lot of Sunsleep songs. So
thank you, dude. Yeah, I know the AI thing's kind of crazy, and I'm definitely down to talk about that a little bit.
It's such a mess.
Yeah. And I agree with you like wholeheartedly. Like, it's one of those things where it's like a really cheap way to like ruin the music industry, you know? And I think a lot of people can catch on to that and do understand it. Like, even with it being more and more advanced and like harder to like discern that's a robot made something, there is that missing piece to it, dude. There's like, it's weird. I had a friend send me some music a few weeks ago, and they're like, this band is so good, like you need to check them out, it reminds me of your stuff. And zero idea who this was, and like I checked him out and I was like, there's something bizarre about this, like I don't know what it is, but this feels like fake, like it feels like it's AI. And sure enough, like did some digging and it was a completely AI generated band. So
I look at the message
that's happened
that
to us recently too. Yeah,
I look at the message I sent last week and be like, "Oh, this band's kind of good." There's nothing. They're essentially a ghost, and I'm very sad. And like
Uh.
we on the podcast, we had like jokingly added like 1 or 2 AI like plankton songs a couple whiles back
Oh yeah,
while
But
they were
that's a-
trending because it was funny and actually kind of good too. But
I mean, that's
then
absurd back
But I think
then.
that's a guy actually singing though, and he just has like a voice changer. Right?
yeah, but now it's something that we like haven't really talked about, but I think like we're kind of like making sure that we kind of skirt across and kind of make sure we don't put attention to that stuff, because now you've got other bands that are trying to make a noise against it.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important. I know you guys listened to Dayseeker. Rory ended up calling out this exact band like a few days ago. I was like, hell yeah, dude, this needs to fucking happen. Like, people need to talk about this. And
it's like there's so many small bands out there that are working so hard to try and just get some semblance of an audience. There's so many of them in every corner of our planet. There's like, if you just spend a little bit of time searching, there are going to be real people with passion that have put their time into something that means so much to them. And then there's just AI that is just fed into whatever algorithm with, I'm not going to say no effort, but minimal effort. And it's just hard to even if like fundamentally like the guitars sound good, it's hard to enjoy it knowing that there was no soul really put into it, you know?
And like it's super difficult because I've seen comments about that kind of music and people go, well, it still sounds good, so what's the difference? And it's kind of hard communicating that with an audience and trying to make sure they understand like that no, this is not what you want.
Yeah, and the difference too is like it goes beyond just music on a platform for enjoyment, right? Like you're not going to go see an AI band. Like, what are we going to just have Jay like go hit spacebar or something? Like
10 years from now, we're going to start seeing hologram live shows performing AI music.
No.
That's going to be the future.
I mean,
that's going to be so sad.
I mean, Vocaloid does it all the time.
Yeah. But like, there's just no camaraderie behind it. Like, there's not a sense of community. There's not like a real grassroots like fan base. Like, I think part of what makes this industry interesting and like keeps people, here, like on these platforms, like what you guys do too, is like all of the behind the scenes stuff. You don't have that with AI music. Like, it's like, yeah, man, I started an LLC and fed an algorithm, and it's like, it's just like there's no backstory, there's nothing interesting about it, and that's where I think it loses a lot. So I think people are catching on, and who knows, maybe in 10 years from now I'll be on the AI tour.
I think a lot of the AI music success that goes around is just due to how people listen to music nowadays. It's like so many people will just throw on like an auto-generated playlist, and these music companies can just put AI music in there and they don't care. They just need people streaming music. They don't care if it's AI generated or not. It's like the art of like making your own playlist. Like, I've been maintaining a playlist for almost a decade at this point of this. Every song that I have ever liked has gone into this one playlist for the past like 9 or 10 years on Spotify. And like, I feel like a lot of people nowadays don't take the effort to make their own playlists or like add their own albums that they like to a library and listen to that. They'll just ask the platform to feed me music, and they don't care who it is. They just need something to listen to. And I feel like if that wasn't the state of how people consume music nowadays, like AI music probably wouldn't be as successful, because like who's adding AI music to like their own personal playlist? I feel like for the most part it's probably just being fed to people's ears through automatically generated playlists that they're just listening to.
That's exactly it. It's the laziness of like, tell me what I like, or like tell me what to be into or like paying attention to. And it's like, I don't know what the end goal is with that, but it's sad. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
It's money. It's always money. It
always comes down to money, I guess.
Pretty much.
There's always going to be people out there trying to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
Oh, you go ahead.
No, go for it, man.
I'm gonna steer the conversation away from AI now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about what you think of like streaming services. Do you think like releasing? I know we had like I think it's 5 singles for Terrible Things. Would you have liked to release less? Would you have liked to release more? How do you feel about the new age of like more singles is better?
It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, the precedence has kind of been over the last few years to just like waterfall singles, right? And then eventually drop like a full length. I mean, growing up, I'm a millennial, and I loved the whole like drop a single and then an album, right? That's how I consumed music in my youth, and like it's just not the way it's done anymore, right? So yeah, like I think there's pros and cons to it. I think from like the instant gratification thing of like, oh, seeing how a song does over a period of time and then keeping your audience like engaged, like that's just what you have to do these days. Because you drop an album or whatever, unless you're like a 1%er artist like T Swift or something, like no one's gonna like, if there's no like soft opening to it, like it's really hard to catch people's attention and maintain it for a period of time.
Because I know personally, and I think a few of us have been like saving singles. I think I've saved a few for this Dayseeker album coming up.
Yeah,
it's hard, man.
I know The Devil Wears Prada is another one that you guys have been avoiding.
Yep,
yes,
actively. I mean, it's just it's the state of how things are, but man, I miss not having to do that. Like,
I also missed having to like not avoid EPs in the fear that they're all just going to be cobbled into an album at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it like from the artist side of things too, like Spotify literally only lets you pitch like one single at a time. And then when you release an album, like you get to pick one song off of that album to pitch that might get curated for like their curated playlists and stuff. So that's why you just see everyone doing that, man, because it's like you get one shot to like make it through and make those big plays, dude, and that's all you get. So yeah,
that's interesting to hear that they do that.
Yeah, it's been like that for at least like 5 or 6 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense of why on like release radars you always see like one song or something, or like one song is featured in the Spotify playlists.
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes in my release radar I'll get multiple songs from an album. Usually it's like one song is like just a song from the album, and then the other song is a song featuring another artist that I follow. That because I follow the feature, it shows up in my release radar as well. Just happened this past weekend with Maggie Lindemann's new album, where there's one song that featured The Warning. So that song showed up in my playlist, and just another random song off of that album. Yeah, I kind of want a different part of this streaming service question. Do you have any opinion on releasing the album opener or closer as a single? Do you think? Because I it's something that I feel like we all get frustrated with, but I also feel like another sentiment that we have is that very often the album opener or closer can be some of our favorite songs on the album. So if you as like a musician think that your album opener or closer is like your favorite song on the album, you'd want to put that in front of most people as possible, and maybe doing that as a single is like the best way to do that. But then you're also in a way taking away from the album experience. So it's a weird. Do you have any opinions on that?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's one of those things where it's like sometimes that opening track or the closing track is like huge, right? And if it really is like single worthy, I don't like, my train of thought is like, do it, like make that the single. But yeah, and like the full context of an album experience, like my mind always goes to like what is going to like have the widest demographic appeal, right? And so like that's kind of been around for a long time with like record labels and stuff like that. So there's always those tracks that are just like, this is super catchy, it's got the structure there, it's gonna it's gonna hit a wider demographic. And then sometimes those more focused like songs that are like strictly like post-hardcore or like strictly, you know, in these genres that are like feeding your audience to, you want that to be like a nice little piece of the record, right, that people appreciate. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, no. So my last point, was there ever a possibility of A Place That We Call Home being a single for this album cycle?
Yeah, dude. That was one of the ones I initially like wanted to do like a music video for. But I sat with the record for a few months and like sent it off to some people in my camp and, you know, got feedback and stuff. And I think the ones that I ended up picking made a lot of sense. But that one was like, for sure, that one and Terrible Things were like, man, I got one more, but I don't want to do like a 7 single record, you know? So I just ended up like, that's the track in my opinion that's like the single besides like the title track. So
it's my favorite song on the album. So
yeah, definitely one of my favorites. Yeah,
I guess throughout Terrible Things, and I guess Moonlight Euphoria to an extent too, there's a lot of genre blending, I would say. And I know we were talking earlier about your influences, but how do you manage to blend it so seamlessly? Like, it's really well done, where I see other artists try to accomplish the same thing and it seems kind of clunky and doesn't flow well. Like, when do you know you've hit that sweet spot that the album's just going to flow all together?
Yeah, dude, I think that's one of the hardest aspects of it, right? Is like making something really cohesive. And I think we kind of do this thing as artists where we get in our minds about something being so great, right? Like, this is the best thing I've ever done. And then we don't have that like separation from it. And like, especially when you're on like these short release schedule plans, you're kind of like just putting stuff out. And I think one of the most important aspects of like creating any sort of long form content like a record is time. So it's like you have to have time away from it to like really digest the work, and then kind of your mind does this thing where you contrast it a little differently with where you're at and where you're experiencing things. And I think that's one thing I set out on this record particularly, is like I wanted it to have time to breathe before I was like 100% sure on it. Because even Moonlight Euphoria, like, I'm not gonna lie, like for me, some of the stuff on that record like was cool, but like it like came together really quickly. We had like the label send us out to an Airbnb, and I just recorded stuff with the band and had to get it done in like 2 weeks, you know? And so there's stuff on there that just felt like, get it done, put it out, you know? And this one was like, I don't want to do that with this record. I want to really make sure that like everything in here, I'm like, I could pick a song off of here and just be like, yeah, this is great. Like stands alone really well.
Shout out that album, by the way. I pulled it off the shelf knowing we were doing this.
I got my vinyl copy over there.
Yeah, and I'm super proud of that record too. Like no doubt. It's just like that was the one difference I feel like with, in contrast to the last one, is like there's stuff that developed on Moonlight Euphoria like really well, and then there's stuff that we're like, you know, we need to cut a record and get it done kind of. And so, yeah.
I guess speaking of Moonlight Euphoria, there were two really, I would say, like big name features on there in Rory Rodriguez and Jonny Craig. You know,
yeah.
How was working with both of them, and are there any like dream features that you'd like to see in the future?
They were great. Yeah, dude, Rory was so awesome. And he's the busiest out of all of us. So like, yeah, he had a turnaround time like that, which I appreciated a lot. You know, we ended up just kind of getting it together, like a list of names for features, and then reaching out and seeing like who was actually down to like make it happen. And Rory was like one of the first people that got back to us. And yeah, that was really cool of him. So yeah, awesome time working with him. And Jonny, you know, I've known Jonny for almost a decade now. So yeah, that was just an easy, like, hey dude, do you want to do this kind of situation? Because I've toured with him and, you know, have known the guy for a while. The big win for me was like Steven Christian on that record, because like I grew up listening to Amberlin. Like they were like one of my favorite bands. And so that was like such a cool moment just to like have that dude on a song. I was like, there's no way that this is gonna happen, and he was about it. So like fangirl moment.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you have the opportunity to tour with them for a short while?
Yeah. So we did a short residency in Colorado. So they did this weird thing for a minute, like when Steven rejoined, or they kind of got back together, where they were doing like these like residencies in like some of these small venues that they played like when they first started out, which was crazy. So they were just like doing the punk rock thing, and we played at this tiny venue for 3 days with them. And they just played through each one of their albums each night. So that was cool. I wish it was a full tour. That would have been incredible. And then to answer your other question, for like features that I like would love to have on some stuff, a weird one that I've always really wanted is this artist. Her name's Elise Trow. She's so good. She does like this weird like looping stuff. Her stuff's a little bit like outside of the genre spectrum I think that I'm in, but like I love her voice. I love her writing. That would be cool. I want to work with Joe Van from Indian Lakes. That's a big one. And who else, dude? Matt Healy. That would be incredible, but there's no way in hell.
I saw the Hellfire playlist, and Nightlife would be a good one.
Yeah,
You guys
dude.
know Nightlife?
Yeah, dude, that could actually very, very likely happen for sure.
Sick.
That would be very cool.
My friend
I think
Dan,
all four of us would support that choice if you were to make it happen.
Oh,
We would be looking forward to it.
no, that'd be really cool. And he's such a sweet dude, man. Like he's one of the nicest people I've ever met. The vocalist from that band. My buddy Dan plays bass for them, actually. Yeah, so there's some little like little threads there we could probably make happen, but yeah.
So if you touring had to make a dream tour, is Anne Berlin on that bill? Like, what does your dream tour look like?
Oof. Some people are gonna hate me for this, but I mean, like old school Amberlin, yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they're still doing it. I'm not a huge Maddie Mullen fan, but that's
Me either. It's okay.
That's great. Great for them. Glad they're doing it. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Like I think like my dream situation if I was to do a tour would be like either like Paris or this band called Now Now. I fucking love them. I really want to tour with those groups. The Neighborhood. Oh my gosh, dude, that would be really cool. Opening for the Neighborhood would be like top bucket list thing.
Hell yeah. I could see that working too. I feel like their discography in general, like there's plenty of Sunsleep songs that would fit right in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be awesome. So besides, opening for the Neighborhood, what would you say the near future of Sunsleep looks like? In the next year, a couple of years, where do you see the band going?
At this point in time, like Canada. I really go ahead.
I said Canada. Come to Canada.
Canada, yes. At this point in time, like I'm really just trying to get on a better like agency. Like I want to do international touring. So yes, Canada would definitely be on there. Yeah, and I just want to play out this music really. I'm the kind of person where it's like I like to plan things out, but at the same time, like life is just chaos. So you never know like what you're gonna get dealt, right? So, but yeah, I definitely in the foreseeable future, like I want to play some shows and get out and see more of the world, dude. I would love to travel overseas too.
Well, I know it's not overseas, but if you ever want to come to Richmond, Virginia, we would be
He
happy
did.
to have
He did. You didn't go to it.
I think I was busy that day. And if you want to come back to Richmond, Virginia, I'll make sure that I
Dude,
go.
I'll be in Virginia, I think, in like a week or two. So I'll let you guys. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
You go to watch Twilight, Derek.
I'm so down. Look, if he's singing, I will. And I always want to ask this of artists because I feel like they're sometimes their biggest critics. But do you have a favorite song, both in Sunsleep and of your personal music, under the Devin Barrus name?
That's so hard to choose. I'm sure everyone says that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you put so much time and effort into all these songs. Like, how do you, as the person that made them, even pick? Like, it's easier as like the consumers of music to pick your favorite.
Yeah,
It's like,
true.
ooh, this sounds good, and like you
Animal.
treat meaning to it that way. But
Yeah, and their songs are like so sick of too. You know, like I've played Dive a million fucking times and like love it, but I'm also good on that. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, I think currently, yeah, Animal, dude, that song is so much fun. We played it live about a year and a half ago, and like, just the vibes of that song live go off, dude. I love that song. There's a lot of stuff on this record I want to do. Definitely A Place We Call Home. That one's like for sure an opening song, even for a live set. Like, just such a good pick. Yeah, that one, Mascara. Yeah, I think that those two I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I think you can really pick any of the singles and have a pretty good set.
All right, I got one more. What's the weirdest or most surprising place you found inspiration?
The weirdest or most surprising place? I think on a plane, probably. Yeah,
Okay.
just like flying, like being on a plane. Like, I've had some like lyrical ideas on plane rides because you're just bored. And
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, like, yeah, I don't. It's not that weird, but that's just what comes to mind, I guess.
That's surprising, I'd say. I don't know.
Is there a song that comes to mind that like wasn't directly like derived from that time?
Yeah. So I think I wrote Haze on the plane. Yeah, I wrote that one and flying to LA to like work on those songs. So that one pops into my head.
It's one of my favorite Sunsleep songs, so very happy. Haze represent. Although I say that like it's not the top 25 favorite Sunsleep songs. Like, I pick any of them. Been following for a long time, and all of us really, really enjoy everything that you do. So
thank you so much, man.
I want to ask a question unrelated to music, because we spent most of this talking about music and whatnot. What do you do outside of music? Like, obviously, it's something that you do like for fun, is like your job, and obviously like, as a hobby as well. But what do you do outside of music?
Oh, dude, I'm big into Pokemon right now.
hell yeah!
Yes.
Yeah.
You
So
a new one?
Yeah. I've been playing the new one. That's like been the last few days of my life. But yeah, I love Pokemon. I got a tattoo actually while I was on this tour of a set.
Oh hell yeah!
It didn't heal, but
Good
you know,
choice.
yeah. Let's see. I love like camping, just spending time outside and going camping and, you know, hiking, outdoorsy stuff, kayaking. I have a little dog. I like to take him out on like walks and stuff and just be outdoors. I'm also really into coffee. I love coffee, dude. So yeah, just going to all these different places every day. Like, the thing that I do for myself every morning is I'll go find like a local coffee shop and just like hang out there for a while. And
We started doing that last year.
yeah,
Started exploring like little coffee shops in my area.
it's fun, dude. And it's good to support local coffee shops too. So yeah.
Is there a favorite one that you found while you've been out?
There's this one called Golden Child in San Diego. Oof, so good, dude. And they have like a Russian roulette setting for your coffee choice, which is wild. But they actually did a pretty good job. It's like dealer's choice, and then you just like they ask you like a few questions, and then it'll just like make you a drink based off of your answers. And I was like, all right, they nailed it. It was pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Now
I don't
have
drink
to ask,
coffee, so I can't contribute anything to this conversation.
Oh man, you're missing out. There's some good coffee out there. If you're into Pokemon, do you collect cards at all?
Oh yeah, brother. I love the card.
What's your grail?
Oof. I mean, I've got an old like 2017 Rayquaza, or not 17, sorry, 2007 Rayquaza. Yeah, it's a little beat up though, so it's PSA 10, unfortunately. But if it was, that thing would be worth like $1,500-$1,600, man.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got my Gold Star Pikachu that I got as a kid that I bent in half and put in my pocket to bring to show and tell. And so now every time I open my binder, I see that, I'm just reminded of it. But
Oh man.
It's like kicking myself for that one. But
dude, like I did the right thing, but like they just sat in a tin, and like even being in there, like moving around, like the corners got bumped a little bit. And I went down that rabbit hole a few months ago where I was like inspecting them and stuff, and like doing the whole thing of like, okay, maybe I'll send in like a batch. And yeah, I was like, there's no way any of these are going to be worth my money.
I've thought about sending in a batch to PSA as well, because my dad and I used to run our town's local TCG league for like a year or two when I was like 10 years old, 11 years old. So like I got a bunch of the promo cards from back then that I have just sitting in a binder and in a tin. And I was like, some of these might be actually worth something. But the process of getting them graded and how expensive it is for maybe not even it being worth it is like, they can just keep collecting dust, I think. That's fine.
Yep, that's how it goes, brother.
Well, of course, when we started, because there was that big boom around COVID time too, and I took all my old cards. I'm like, I got to protect these, so I just stuck them straight in the top loaders, and then I was getting them back out like with no penny sleeve, and I was getting them back out like in the past year, and I'm like, oh god, what have I done?
Do you have a favorite Pokemon game?
Ooh, I like Diamond and Pearl. Yeah.
Jake
Ruby's
is disappointed.
Dude,
I sunk 400 hours into Platinum as a child, and now it's like my least favorite games to replay. I have not gotten through a playthrough of Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum in like close to a decade at this point. I find them so boring.
Yeah. Just digging in there. Mining. Yeah.
I do have fond memories of that part of the game, I will say that. But like, especially Diamond and Pearl are so slow. They are so dreadfully slow.
I want them to remake Emerald, dude. That would be so sick.
Oh, absolutely, they cooked with ORAS, so we need something for the Switch or whatever comes next, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The Switch Retina, dude, it'll just be in your brain.
Yeah. That's how it feels at this point.
Yeah.
I guess in kind of wrapping it up, just what's on the horizon for you musically? Is there anything that you have planned? Any writing process? What can we expect new music anytime soon?
Yeah, I'm always writing, dude. Being on this tour is like it's like been the worst itch that I can't scratch because I don't have I need to get a laptop first of all. But yeah, just like not being able to be in the studio, coming up with ideas every day, dude. I love it. So I'm expect music in the future. There's no doubt about it.
Hell yeah.
I got one last question. This conversation has been very valuable for my personal playlist for new songs to check out. Can you shout out some lesser known bands that not many people know that think may fit in your kind of style?
Okay. Yeah, so there's an artist called Saro. It's Saro. Love his stuff. He's kind of like indie pop, shoegazy stuff. Love his music. and I came across it like not that long ago, and I was like, this has got to be like massive. There's no way. And I went and looked up his stuff, and then like he's got like maybe like 50 or 60,000 monthly listeners. So shout out Sorrow. Man, I'm like one of the smallest people that I listen to. So. Oh man, that's so hard.
Sunsleep.
Yeah, Sunsleep.
Shout out Sunsleep.
Yeah, shout out.
A Foreign Affair. I know you guys know them. Yeah, they're cool. Love those guys, and hardworking dudes too. Foreign Affair. Let's see who else. Man, I don't know. Yeah, just those two come to mind right now. Yeah.
Oh, good shouts, especially for Sunsleep. We stream terrible things. It is one of the best, in my opinion, albums that it's released all year. So I'm the guys are all writing it down when we try to guess our end of year top 10 lists. But I don't think I've made it much of a secret where it's gonna end up on mine. So.
Yeah, I think it's funny how we all like keep our top 10 lists hidden from each other, but we also like really don't try and hide it that much at all.
Nope. Except Justin.
Yeah, this guy.
Guys, don't ask.
Yeah. Well, you
ask
don't
me
make it obvious.
Don't make the important question.
We don't want to ask.
Yeah. All right, Devin, thank you for your time tonight. This was a lot of fun. Once again, if you want to follow us on social media at Hivemind Radio _ on Instagram and Twitter, Hivemind Radio on YouTube, Hivemind Recap Podcast on Spotify and other podcast platforms. At Sunsleep on most social media, you can find Devin and Sunsleep. And yeah, I think that's just going to do it. Unless you have any final words you want to say, Devin.
That's it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely,
No problem.
anytime.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for taking your time to join us on this.
Yeah.
And dealing with our very slow scheduling. We've been cooking this one up for a while.